The Amazon rainforest has long been called one of the last truly wild places on Earth. Stretching across 9 countries, covering more than 5.5 million square kilometers, it is a world of endless green, ancient rivers and shadows so thick that sunlight barely reaches the ground. For centuries, explorers pushed into its depths searching for something extraordinary. Cities of gold, lost kingdoms, civilizations swallowed whole by the jungle. They always came back empty-handed. And so, science made its verdict. The Amazon, they said, was too wild, too hostile, too poor in its soils, to ever have supported a great civilization. It was a wilderness. It had always been a wilderness. That verdict was catastrophically wrong. In January 2024, a study published in the journal Science, led by French archaeologist Stephen Rostaing of the French National Center for Scientific Research, CNRS, revealed something that stopped the scientific world cold. Hidden beneath the canopy of Ecuador's Upano Valley, buried under centuries of jungle growth and silence, lay the remnants of a vast, organized urban civilization. Not one city, 15, connected by a road network of perfectly straight highways, stretching for kilometers in every direction. More than 6,000 earthen platforms, agricultural fields, canals, plazas, and an estimated 15 to 30,000 people at its peak. A civilization, 2,500 years old, older than any previously known complex society in the Amazon, thriving at the exact same time as the Roman Empire, and nobody in the modern world knew it was there. To understand why this discovery is so extraordinary, you have to understand the idea it destroys. In 1971, a powerful and influential American archaeologist named Betty Meggers published a book. Its title said everything: Amazonia, Man and Culture in a Counterfeit Paradise. Her argument was simple. The Amazon's tropical soils are too poor, too acidic, too thin to sustain large-scale farming. No rich soil means no surplus food. No surplus food means no cities. No cities means no civilization. The Amazon, she argued, was fundamentally incapable of supporting complex human societies. And the scientific world believed her. For 4 decades, this theory dominated Amazonian archaeology. It discouraged researchers from even looking. Rostaing himself recalled that when he began his career, fewer than 10 archaeologists were working in the entire Amazon basin. Everybody said there's nothing to find, he remembered. Nobody searched, due to a colonial racist mentality that natives of the Amazon are savages incapable of building anything sophisticated. But Rostaing kept going. He arrived in Ecuador's Upano Valley in 1996. He spent 7 years there, on foot, with a brush and a trowel. He found pottery, chicha jars, the ancient fermented maize beer of the Americas, grinding stones and radiocarbon dates stretching back 2,500 years. He suspected something enormous was hidden here, but he could not see it, not yet. The tool that changed everything is called LiDAR, light detection and ranging. It sounds like science fiction. An aircraft flies over the jungle and fires millions of laser pulses downward, hundreds of thousands every single second. Most of those pulses hit leaves and branches and bounce straight back. But some slip through the tiny gaps in the canopy. They reach the ground. And in doing so, they record the exact shape of everything beneath the trees. Every ridge, every ditch, every road, every mound, down to features just 20 centimeters high. Software then strips away the jungle digitally, and what remains is a bare earth map of the hidden world below. In 2015, Ecuador's National Institute of Cultural Heritage funded a LiDAR survey of the Upano Valley. The aircraft flew, the lasers fired, the data was collected, and then nothing. Bureaucratic delays kept the dataset locked away for 5 years. It was not until 2020 that Rostaing and his co-author, remote sensing specialist Antoine Dorisson of Paris I University, finally got access to the files. Rostaing had spent 25 years working in that valley, by hand. He had estimated at best a few hundred mounds might exist beneath the canopy. When he opened the LiDAR data and the forest digitally fell away, there were over 6,000. 30 years after, he said, I saw that there were not hundreds of mounds, but thousands of mounds. Each day, he said, it was Christmas, with a new gift. What the laser beams revealed across 300 square kilometers of the Upano Valley was not just a settlement. It was an entire urban world. 15 interconnected settlements spread across the valley. 5 large urban centers, surrounded by 10 smaller satellite communities. Each center built around clusters of rectangular earthen platforms, 20 meters long, 10 meters wide, rising 2 to 3 meters above the jungle floor, arranged in deliberate groups around open plazas. Some platforms were enormous. One ceremonial complex at a site called Quilamope featured a single platform stretching 140 meters long by 40 meters wide. Connecting everything was a road network that defied the jungle. Major highways stretching 10 to 25 kilometers in length, 10 meters wide, dug 2 to 3 meters into the earth, running in perfectly straight lines, crossing ravines and rough terrain without a single curve, roads meeting at precise right angles, regardless of what the land beneath them does. That is not the work of wandering tribes. That is the work of an organized civilization with a plan. The agricultural landscape surrounding these cities was just as precise. Rectangular fields, drainage canals, hillside terraces, water management systems, all of it engineered to feed a population researchers now estimate at 15 to 30,000 people. For comparison, that is roughly the same population as Roman-era London, built in a rainforest 2,500 years ago. Researchers called it garden urbanism, a uniquely Amazonian form of city building, where homes and farms were not separated but completely woven together, spreading across the landscape like roots. It was not the kind of city Rome or Athens built. It was something entirely its own. The civilization of the Upano Valley was not a single culture, but a sequence of peoples stretching over 1,000 years. The earliest inhabitants, known as the Upano culture, arrived around 500 BCE and began constructing the first mound complexes along the river terraces. Their painted pottery, intricate geometric designs in red, has been found at Andean highland sites hundreds of kilometers away. These were not isolated forest dwellers. They were traders, part of a wider connected world. The Kilimop culture that followed, roughly 200 BCE to 600 CE, represents the height of this civilization. The builders of the 6,000 platforms, the great highways, the monumental plazas, they were sustained by the volcanic soils of the Upano Valley, made extraordinarily fertile by the nearby Sangai volcano, soils so rich that local farmers today still harvest maize 3 times per year from the same land. And then, around 400 to 600 CE, they vanished. A landmark follow-up study published in Nature Communications in August 2025 analyzed microscopic plant fossils from a nearby lake bed, reconstructing 2,770 years of environmental history. The evidence pointed not to a catastrophic volcanic eruption or sudden collapse, but to something slower, more devastating. A severe, prolonged drought beginning around 250 CIE, deepening over the following centuries. A civilization built on intensive water management and agriculture, destroyed by the one thing it could not engineer its way out of. The water dried up, and the forest took everything back. When Spanish conquistador Francisco de Orellana crossed the Amazon in 1541, he reported densely populated regions running for hundreds of kilometers along the Great River. Historians dismissed his accounts for centuries. Fantasy, exaggeration. The delusions of a man lost too long in the jungle. He was right. The indigenous peoples of the Upano Valley, the Shuar and Ashuar communities, never forgot what lay beneath their feet. There have been stories about ancient cities for centuries in our communities, said Manari Ushigwa, a leader of the Sapara nation when the discovery was announced. These were civilizations on a par with European ones. There are many other ancient sites hidden underground, their whereabouts known only to indigenous peoples. The Amazon was never an empty wilderness. It was a garden, an engineered, inhabited, deeply human garden, and we are only now beginning to understand what was built inside it. As archaeologist Christopher Fisher said plainly, we see the Amazon today as a pristine tropical forest, but in reality, it is an abandoned garden, hidden for 2,500 years, revealed at last by a single beam of light. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. See you in the next one.